Question for you:
Yeah, go ahead.
If a person who does, if a person who specializes in their task or job is a specialist, and a person who makes art is an artist, what is the person who makes rap?
An artist? Like what kind of rap? Like a tortilla wrap? A bacon wrap?
Sure.
Like a sandwich
Yes.
artist?
What would they be
A
considered?
technician. That's what they would get with.
What would that
technician.
rap person be considered? All right.
Ultimately, I think there's they change the names of certain things to not pay employees a little bit higher than they should. It's like I think one thing Apple like to do is call people. So there's a position for a person who knows a little bit of coding, knows a little bit of SQL data processing, but they call them specialists. They should be called developers if they're not with code and all this stuff. But I don't know. But you know, like you're just to change their title name so that you can pay them less. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, or it just makes it seem, I think sometimes they over convolute the names to make it seem like way more than it is when it's, it is still kind of categorized as something else. Like a penis cargo extraction therapist. It's basically a hoe. It's like, why can't you just call it that? Stop confusing me with all this. You got no Yale degree in this. But yeah, I agree. It definitely there's certain occupations that just kind of blow their titles out of proportion. I've definitely been giving a couple titles that were like that, and it's just half the time it's just like, what does this person do? And really, to sum it up, like working in a small company, it's you put on so many different hats. You're pretty much a jack of all trades. So it's just whatever you want them to be.
Yeah, I should be equivalent to a video engineer, but they simplify the title and stuff like that too. It's like, oh my god, yes, I just can't stand you guys. But anyways, my fun fact. Plastic Man is the DC version of Mr. Fantastic from Marvel. They were gonna make a movie about it.
Oh, okay.
No, they were gonna make a movie about Plastic Man.
We're gonna make a movie explaining that, or they're gonna make a movie about Plastic Man. I'm like, that's pretty bold to make a movie about how you plagiarize something.
Oh, I think they've done it before. I think Deathstroke is like,
Really?
Yeah, I think Deadpool is like the
That's
it's a play on Deathstroke.
and his character model was after Spider-Man, Deadpool. I think that was it. Like the costume scheme and everything was based off of Spider-Man's design.
And Deadpool is it's the plagiarism of Deathstroke. No? Am I wrong? Let me check.
Peter
Simpson.
Griffin is the plagiarism of Homer Simpson, and Homer Simpson is the plagiarism of Flintstones and Jetsons.
So yeah. Anyways. Your fun fact.
Uh, there's been one animal that's been known to attack nuclear subs and cause them to emerge due to an attack, and that is the cookie cutter shark, in which it actually took it took a cookie shaped hole out of a sub, so they couldn't figure out what it was, and then it forced the submarines to come out of water because they thought it was under attack.
How did they find out it was a cookie
Because
cutter shark?
It's a known creature that usually feeds on larger animals, and the cookie cutter shark actually feeds off of whales, too. So it actually comes up and bites it, and then just takes off. But the teeth are so sharp that it actually can penetrate the hull of the sub. Also, Shredder was in the Power Rangers. He played the Green Ranger.
When was
I
this?
just found
What
this out,
episode is
like,
this?
I found that out recently. I was like, what the fuck? So, it's in one of the comics, but it's super weird.
Oh, it's in the comics.
Mhm.
It's in the comics.
Yeah. But, they're really they're really reaching for shit if they did stuff like that.
Which I don't get. It's like mutants and Power Rangers. I don't know where they ended up with that.
There's those crazy ass comic crossovers that just make absolutely no sense, like G.I. Joe and Transformers.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. I like our Predator versus
really?
Aliens. Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
I don't know. I watched one of the movies. It didn't really like stand out to me, honestly.
I love those movies. I like those
Right.
crossovers.
I mean, which other crossovers do you like?
I kind of like Batman and Ninja Turtles.
Or have
Batman
you
and Ninja
seen
Turtles.
that actually worked?
Batman's. Yeah,
Oh,
that one's
Batman
just
Ninja
recent.
Turtles.
That one just recently came out, which is it was all right.
I mean, I don't know. Anything you stick Ninja Turtles in, it just makes me stop taking it seriously. I don't know why. It's just like, they're both like things that are geared more towards kids. It's hard to see a edgy / dark storyline coming from the Ninja Turtles.
What? The first movie was a dark movie.
What, the first live action movie?
The first live action movie.
How was it edgy? Or how was it dark?
For one thing, they actually used martial arts in the first one. They used their weapons, and in the second film they nuked it, so they weren't allowed to use their. Yeah, they nuked
right.
it.
Yeah, so they weren't actually using the swords.
They weren't actually using the swords. They weren't using their nunchucks, their sai. They weren't using the sticks. They weren't.
Oh,
yeah,
really? Oh.
They weren't using any of that. So that's why you always see the Ninja Turtles dancing. It was like, yeah. So part 2,
They fought with their opinions.
they fought with their opinions and op-eds and. But yeah. So like I think the first one was like. Really,
I just remember in the second Ninja Turtles, there was that weird bath scene. We just put Raphael in a
oh, that's
tub
the
of
first
water.
one.
Like that would
was the
that would
first one.
heal him. No, that was the second one. That was Casey Jones.
Yeah, Casey Jones was in the first one.
You sure? I'm pretty sure he was in the second one.
Yeah.
All right, far be it from me to question that.
Um,
I mean, I'm not the movie guy
but yeah,
here.
that's my favorite scene. It's a big turtle shell in the.
You. How long is his penis? I've seen turtle penises before.
Actually, in the original comics, they included the tail, the Ninja Turtle tail, in the comics. But once they made the toys and all that stuff, and they were going out, people were like, "This looks like a penis sticking out of the shell," so they took it out immediately. They took it out.
I also found out the underside of a hedgehog is actually his penis too. The belly part. So when you look at Sonic the Hedgehog, like, you motherfucker, he's been streaking this whole time.
All right. So, anyways,
That's why he'll never
speaking
get
of
married.
marriage, I think wedding season is almost over. I mean, 2020 is basically wedding season for everyone. It's canceled. But I was supposed to go to a wedding I think a couple weeks ago, but that got canceled. That's great. I think Walker already knows I'm not a big fan of going to weddings anyways. It's like, but I do like the drinking and stuff like that. But I hate the awkwardness of weddings and stuff. So
What awkwardness are we talking about?
I could just can't finding a date for the wedding, and you just add a table with an extra chair with you. I'm like, fuck. And then the thing is, like, do you bring gift? Do you bring cash? What do you bring as a gift for the thing? I try to get rid of the cliches, no toasters or anything.
I don't know any. That is kind of fucked up if they put you at a table by yourself and no other person was seated at the table.
Of course, and then
motherfucker.
and then at times if you you're sitting at the table and it's like, and you just get the wrong group of friends and wrong group of people to sit with, and like they don't want to talk to you or whatever. It's like that's even more stressful and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like the awkward. I was like, how do you know these couple? Yeah, I used to work with them and blah blah blah. But yeah, no.
That's the perfect group to drink with at that point. It's like, all right, you know what? Let's go get some fucking drinks, dude. Let's just get hammered. Like, fuck this shit.
Yeah, I even got like my own hotel room just in case I like, get completely hammered and stuff like that. And just stay for the night and stuff like that. So I'm all for that.
Mm-hmm. No more waking up to naked
all for
man
that.
for cola. I generally just don't like the. I'm okay with going to a wedding if you are a close personal friend. If not, it's very hard for me to actually want to spend time out there. And if it's my wife's close friend, yes, I would. I definitely would make that bit of effort to kind of go out there and have fun. If it's her family, of course. But when it's some random person she hadn't spoken to in 10, 20 years, and then all of a sudden she gets invited to the wedding, it's just very weird because I'm just like, okay, well, what do we know about this person? Who, like, how do we interact with them? And her answer to me is just, I don't know. Then it makes it very awkward.
But do you still decide to go anyways?
She went out of courtesy.
Oh.
This is when we were still dating. Like, we were just getting into the serious part of the relationship. So, we were just getting into the serious part of the relationship. So she was inviting me out to some of her events or whatever, and one of them was an old college classmate's wedding. So she hadn't spoken to this guy in since freshman year in college. So there was not much information to go off of. She hadn't spoken to him ever since like they had that class together. So when she got invited, we just showed up, and it was like the weirdest thing because he didn't exactly specify what we were supposed to go to. He just said just come out, and he gave us the address to everything. So it was the tea ceremony, all this other stuff, you know, a lot of Asian cultural celebration parts of it, and we went. And when we showed up, it was very much just like, oh, well, you're not supposed to show up to this part of the day. But it's so weird because, you know, they didn't give us any information and just gave us a card saying like, hey, this is happening at this time. But even when we went to the banquet itself, it was still really weird because we didn't know anyone, and we just kind of just sat there. We talked to each other mostly, and whoever was at the table just drank with them. And after a certain amount of time, we just kind of realized like we were in that group of people. We were in that group of people that just didn't know the person. They were just like arbitrarily invited, and it was just super weird and kind of awkward because you can kind of tell from the energy of the room that not a lot of people wanted to interact with you. Like not a lot of people like were in our table were interacting with other people outside the table. So, and you know, it was just there was no mutual friends. Essentially, we were just kind of in that weird group. So, but yeah, if it's friends like that, then I'm just like, there's very, very little need for us to be there because we don't know the person, and that's my only gripe behind it. But you know, if it's for a close friend or for whoever. Yeah, of course. I'll make a bit of an effort to come out.
And what are you leaving? And what are you leaving as a gift for that person?
That's where. A pack of condoms.
Just don't put your name on the envelope.
A rape whistle, and that's it.
Or leave them like a Starbucks card, like a $5 Starbucks card.
$20.
Yeah.
Amazon, okay? You want to make it something universal.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, Amazon is like I think it's a better deal. You can combine up all of them.
What would your gift be, Cola?
If I didn't like the person,
$1,000.
It'd probably be like a $50 gift card to like Best Buys or something like that. But if I didn't like the person, I wouldn't. You know, if I wouldn't even go if I didn't like the person. Yeah. Even if it's family, I wouldn't. I still wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't go to that function, anyways. So. So yeah, it's not like I hate my family. I just don't want to be interrogated. So. That's the main thing.
So
like, you know what? I'm not coming there. Especially, I used to do.
You know what? There's honestly nothing. There's nothing wrong with being single. You can actually drink uninhibited by a lot of things. You know, you're not bound by certain rules, and you're just kind of left to your own devices a bit more. Just in the general public.
I used to do weddings. I used to do wedding. I used to be a wedding videographer, right? Every weekend, I would just drive up to these places, and like these people, like they do some really big weddings, and I completely understand why people do big weddings and stuff like that to celebrate each other. But I think there's certain aspects of it that's completely unnecessary. And it's like what happens is like you start leveling up with people who get married and stuff like that. Oh, somebody had a wedding like this. I'm gonna make it go up even more. It's like, oh man, you guys are going of it. But I mean, I'm more like a Las Vegas that day wedding kind of thing. It's like no need to plan for anything. Like forget it. And then you're inviting people that you don't like. I went the most extravagant wedding I went to was I went to an Armenian wedding.
What's the most extravagant? What's the most extravagant wedding you've been to?
So Armenian wedding, it's very simple and like it's very simple. It's just basically a small ceremony in the beginning and boom, the banquet starts right there. It's like a 15-minute ceremony and then the banquet starts. The music starts playing. People get up and get their own food and stuff like that. But they're dancing and they're throwing money and they're drinking until 3 a.m. in the morning. So yeah, so that reunion thing is like all in the beginning is done like 15 minutes and then after that it's just drinking, dancing, and money being tossed around on the dance floor and everything. So yeah, which I think is great. No, like the group, the bridesmaid and groomsmen, like they did all that stuff, so they collect all of it. So
did you go and collect?
Like, wow, but it's very extravagant. They had a big hall. There used to be a bank, but then it was in San Francisco, but they rented out the whole hall for like I think till 3 a.m. in the morning. But it was crazy. And then on the like lighter weddings, yeah, when I was a wedding videographer, so yeah, but like
this is when
I
you're
think
a wedding videographer.
most
right?
unreasonable is like people telling me how to do my job and how to get my shots and stuff like that. I'm like, no. It's like,
What was the most
do
unreasonable
it.
request you've ever gotten? Then?
How did they do it? They're like, oh, can you come and stand and get this shot right here and get this? Can you go over the top and stuff like that? I was like, okay, let me do my job. I got it. Enjoy your wedding.
Like, how did they do that?
You're supposed to pretend like I'm not here. Coordinate with your photographer and stuff like that. So yeah. And the thing is like you're only gonna watch the video once. It's like it's not. You're only gonna watch the video once, so or you're just not gonna watch it at all. So that's my thing behind it. I know, right? There's a lot of cringe-worthy moments in there.
My wedding video, yeah, definitely. Watching it more than once was already enough for me. It's because it's essentially a when you really look at it, it's an experience. You love the experience for what it was, but once it's over, it's over. And watching the wedding, watching the video itself once, it's like, okay, cool, like that's how it turned out. It usually it's like, okay, well, I remember all this, and then it's pretty much just a kind of like a B-rated movie type of thing. It's something you pick up once, watch, and you're like, okay.
I would say this. If you're going to plan for a wedding, I would say go for the extra money for the photographer. And I would say skip the videography. That's what I would say. I say skip the videography. I mean, go with the photographer. That's what you're going to be looking at all the time. The videographer, I would definitely skip it. Skip the videographer.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing is, like, so many people have their smartphones and they're high quality anyways. You can ask them to shoot portions of it and then have them send it to you where you can edit. But I think wedding videographer is a little bit too excessive. Yeah, I used to work for a company that does like cinematic weddings. So they shoot in 24 frames, 4K, explosions. Yeah, it's like that. They have helicopters. They even pay.
Michael
they even
Bay.
pay, they'll send their videographers and stuff like that to
Oh shit.
when they have exotic weddings. They'll send like Thailand to do it and all that stuff. So yeah. So it's Turkey and Istanbul, right in Istanbul. But yeah, they even do that. It's like, wow, this is a little bit too much. But I would definitely skip on the videographers and go for the photographers. Yeah, everyone's gonna shoot.
I feel weirder and weirder now about weddings because everyone does have a smartphone, so everyone just like immediately has it out, and it's yeah, everyone's gonna shoot, and it's just a little weird to me because, you know, this is not exactly is also not exactly a thing that you yourself are going to be keeping to yourself. Be like, oh yeah, I was part of this wedding, and I was sitting in this seat, and I was watching this person walk down this aisle, and you're not going to keep that in your folder and just treasure that, you know. So, because that would be creepy, and it's just, you know, I feel as if it's better to just enjoy
Hey,
the
no
experience
cell
for
phone
what
at
it
a
is,
wedding
you
policy.
know, be a part of our celebration,
Get off your
and just
phone.
be with us here today, now, and get off your phone. Get off your phone and just like be a part of this. It's not that it's not that I'm about the no cell phone thing. It's just, how important is this to you? You know, that's my question. It's just, how important is this to you? If it's that important to where you have to have that video footage of us video footage of one of our bridesmaids walking down the aisle, then that's like, okay, well, that's all you. But at the same time, it's for the bride's sake too, because the bride always wants all this extra footage or whatever sometimes, and half of it I'm looking at and just thinking, we're not gonna watch this again. We're not gonna be paying attention to it again. So, but I also feel that everything's a little bit too commercialized, to where we do pay for way too much by slapping tag of wedding on anything. Everything becomes about 3 times the price. So, like, here's one thing. So Cola was a part of my wedding, and he was there for a majority of the process of us setting up, because we were a do-it-yourself wedding, and
It was $100 an hour.
just the cost for these kinds of events is ridiculous.
Woo.
Like, the cost for us to buy a tent and set it up ourselves was only about $100 per tent, $110 per
I think
tent.
I should start that business.
The cost to rent the tents for that night, or no, just for 2 nights, was $1,300 per tent. Yeah. So, and it was because of the guys that this was all part of a wedding. I don't think that just party favors in general too. It's just, my God, the amount that you guys spend on these things, it's just unreal. Especially when you consider like families that have huge parties, and they do nothing but rent everything. You can't imagine how much they're actually paying out of pocket when comparing it to doing things yourself. It's kind of crazy. So when we did everything ourselves, we actually cut down on costs immensely. I think we would have ended up paying an extra like 30-40 grand just for everything that we wanted. but we just, my wife and I were smart about it, and we just did it ourselves. We're just like, forget that. We just want it to be simple and personal, and to be honest, it actually turned out a lot better like that than just actually doing all this rental and doing all these set scenarios and track